Did you get your summer discs yet?
I haven't yet. No, I will.
Alrighty, we are live. I guess it skipped straight over to the scene. Welcome everybody to the Illuvium Town Hall. I'm Rich, your community manager. Many of you know me. You saw me yesterday for the launch party. So yeah, we got a town hall today with Kieran, CEO, co-founder, and we're going to cover, a bunch of stuff today. I know a lot of people had some questions, and so we put the questions up at the end, basically. We'll answer those, and then if we have some additional time, we'll cover, anybody that wants to come up. Also, this is live streaming everywhere, so don't worry if you show up late. We're going to, you can watch the recording, basically, anywhere you go. So, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go across the products. We'll have Kieran, give you guys a brief update about the products. We have, multiple products, as many of you know. We have Zero, we have Overworld, we have Arena, we have Beyond. We got a ton of stuff to go over. So, yeah, Kieran, if you want to jump right into it, we can get started here.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me on. I know it's been a while, and just before we go into that, I want to make it clear that over the next call it 4 or 5 months going into the new year, there's a ton of stuff that we're going to showcase to the community across all types of product categories, from Zero all the way through to Arena, Overworld, Beyond, and even some new stuff on the horizon as well. So I've been quite, I wouldn't say silent, but I've kind of been sitting back, letting us build, getting us into a position where I really feel like we can start talking about the positive things that we're doing. It's been intentional for us to not talk about doing a whole bunch of stuff and rather do it, and then get that out, get that message out once we're there and we're confident that things are going to be well received. We're at that point now, so that's when I can now step in, start doing a whole bunch more monthly town halls. That's 100% locked in, and then you've got a bunch of other stuff that I used to do, like AMAs and going on to other people's shows and stuff like that. That is all going to continue again, because we've got so much stuff that we want to talk about. So that's the first thing. The second is going through the products. So starting off with Zero. As you all know, about 6 months ago now, we decided to pare back the Zero team quite considerably. The reason being, we wanted to use those additional resources to put it into Arena and now Overworld. And the rationale behind that was not to say like, hey, screw you landholders. It was actually quite the opposite. We need to ensure that we get a return to landholders, that we get steady revenue generation coming through, filtering through to those landholders so they can start earning an ROI. The best way for us to do that is to generate revenue. And when we looked at it, firstly, that meant developing Arena, and secondly, the MMO. And those two sources, outside of Beyond, which obviously does really well, we need to improve those in order to get a return for the landholders. So that was why we decided to do that. Not saying we haven't done anything. We do still have a skeleton team there, but there's not going to be a whole bunch of new features that come out over the next 4 or 5 months. It's very much, we want to generate revenue for you guys. and that will come from the other products. In the future, 100%, when we get those revenue streams up and running and things are looking really good, that's when we can go back to zero and say, okay, things like training gyms, things that we've had on the roadmap for a long time, we do want to do, and we can bring some more people back and get some resources there. That is the plan. It's not going to be a situation where we just leave it and say, oh, well, you're still making revenue, so, you know, go cry to someone else. We do want to keep on building out that product. So that's Zero. Let me just see what you would like to hear next. Okay, you want Arena next. I hope everyone on this call has gone and tried out Arena. The latest patch is what I was discussing with our team internally a couple of days ago. It feels like it's out of alpha now, right? And there's still a lot of improvements that we want to make, and we've got a very small team on Arena now as well. We've moved almost everyone over to the MMO, but it feels like it's made that polished jump of going from like a game that we've quickly put together to something that really can compete with mainstream games. And I play it I try to play it a few times a day, and it's really, really fun now. And there's quite a few things there that are unique to other competing products out there, and it really makes me excited. So we're product wise, with the latest patch that came out, that's a lot of what we've been trying to develop. So we're pretty much feature complete to the point where we want to start marketing things, and that's the next step with Arena. We need to get all of the people that tried Arena, and there was tens of thousands. So I think at our peak we had about 68,000 people that had played Arena. We need to firstly get those people coming back and saying, when you first tried it, wasn't an amazing experience. It had the bare bones. It was still multiplayer. It wasn't the 1v1. There was no team builder. So there was a lot of stuff that people liked, but it was very much not a polished game. Now that it's polished, we go back to those people and say, hey, you obviously like auto battlers, come and play again. It's a totally different experience. But the main driver here is we need to change sentiment at the Web3 level. We know that's what influences the token price. We know sentiment is down. And the reason for that is we launched and we had Arena that didn't hit, and we had Overworld that didn't hit. Now that Arena is in a good state, we've just got to get those same people to try the game again. And the way that we're going to do that is actually a campaign, twofold, but the main one being we're going after TFT players, and we're going to use the the competitive environment, the IPL league, which I'll talk about in a little bit, which has a huge amount of prize money on the line. And we're going to go out to these guys and say, hey, look, you play TFT, and we're not going to go for like the top 20 guys in TFT. We're going to go for anyone from 20 all the way up to like 200. Ideally, people that have Twitch and stream and have a brand and profile. Doesn't matter if they're not English speaking. We want to go after those types of guys. What that will do when we start signing these guys to come across and play in the IPL, and they look at it and they're like, well, surely if I compete in this smaller league, which has still big prize money, I'm actually going to make more. So from their perspective, as long as the game's fun and there's a lot more prize money for them to win, because theoretically the competition isn't as strong, they might look at, okay, let's start coming across. So we've started having a bunch of those conversations, and that you'll start seeing that come to fruition this month. We'll get people from TFT coming across. And what that will signal to the Web3 people, the KOLs, right? The people who now will speak about Illuvium, and they haven't tried it again, but they simply have a predefined idea of what Illuvium is. Oh, that's the game that doesn't have fun. It isn't fun to play. But now all of a sudden, they know we've pushed out a whole bunch of updates and whatever, but they still haven't tried it. But now you've got this massive cohort of people coming across where they're streaming it again. It's positive. You're seeing new people enter the ecosystem. Web 2 people are saying, hey, this is a really fun game. That defines to the Web 3 creators that, holy shit, this is actually a really fun game. I got to go back in and play this game. And I believe that over time, they will start changing their narrative to say, well, okay, it's not exactly a game for me, but you cannot deny that they've got people from Web 2, proper content streamers that they respect, starting to come across. There must be something there. This is really positive. Then we go back to them ourselves and say, look, we've done so much work. We're changing things. Play the game now. As you can see, there's a lot of people that are pro players in TFT that are having fun now, whereas they weren't before. And all of a sudden, you've changed the sentiment from Web 2 people. You've changed the sentiment on Web 3 people. Two-pronged attack. You've got people loving the game, and you got people buying the token again because they think, wow, Illuvium's finally cracked it. They've got a really good, fun game. And that's where we're at with Arena, which is so pleasing. Like I cannot, and it really didn't sink in for me until that patch came out, where now you can go and you can modify your Ranger. There's the Ranger weapon abilities makes it super unique. You can really start cooking up some good things on your Ranger now, and it's just a really fun game to play based on the way that our stages work and how you upgrade your units over time. And yeah, so we're in a really, really good place with Arena. And that gives you a little bit of an idea of how we're going to go to market. And again, we'll talk about the IPL in a second as well. So that's Arena. Then Overworld. I won't go too deep into this. I know there's going to be a whole bunch of questions that people have, but obviously we had the AMA with Roger and Stephen last week, which covered a lot. But we're full steam ahead. The entire team has has switched from Arena to the MMO. There's new stuff every single day. I always go in, play the build. The boss battle is now in a really good state. I think we'll definitely show what that boss battle looks this month, without a doubt. Give you a bit of a progress shot into how that's looking. Abilities have started coming in, things like animations for the weapons. New enemies are in the overworld now, which make it a lot different. You can't capture these enemies. They're just, mobs that are going around. The environment is starting to take shape. And it's a little bit frustrating because I look and I'm like, how are we not further ahead with the MMO? But the reality is we had to finish Arena. And now that we have a really good game that can sit there, bring players in, it gives us time to really switch and focus on the MMO and make sure that it's really good. But the reality is we've only had the full team on this for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. And previously, only 8 weeks in total where people have been peeling across or whatever. So really excited for what we're about to show with the MMO. There's a lot of stuff there. There's also a cinematic, which we've had sitting there. It's done, and we're kind of in this weird space where we don't want to launch it until we've got some momentum with the MMO, but at the same time, we know that the market is starting to heat up, and we're like, do we put this out a little bit early? And so that debate is still going on. But in our back pocket, we've got one of our cinematics that everyone has grown to love over time, and I think that's going to do some really good numbers to get attention back. But we've got to use it at the right time. So that's the MMO, and again, put some questions in if you have any, and I'll go into some more detail later. And then beyond, so we had ILV Summer, our Wave 4 promo launch yesterday. I think that's really well received. We've done a lot of product iteration of Beyond since pretty much Wave 2. We've been trying to really nail this product. I feel like since Roger's taken over as product owner, he's done a really good job. He's listening to the community. He's delivering what people want. The reward structure changed, which is going really well. I think that's well received, not just from people in Beyond, but token holders. I think they're happier about the more sustainable approach we're taking to rewards for Beyond. But yeah, it's such a good product. People love it. I love it, and yeah, we'll just keep on pushing through. There'll be a little bit of a break between Wave 4 and Wave 5 as normal. But yeah, I believe they've already finished Wave 5, so that will just move ahead like normal.
Yeah, Roger mentioned it on the stream yesterday. So Wave 5's ready,
Yeah.
and then yeah, I think he mentioned something like possibly ending in December or ending in January, maybe. I don't know, something like that. But
yeah. Lars had a question. Would it be worth doing a Kaido campaign? It's something that I think about, but our predicament that we're in, we need to change sentiment for these Web3 KOLs, right? They're a necessary evil, is how I like to look at it in this space, right? They control whether a product is hot or not, or good or not, to a certain extent, right? And we had so much hype going into July last year that every single KOL was talking about us. Every single person was saying, is this going to be the moment where a Web3 game really breaks through? And we let a lot of people down. Of course, we let people in this community down. Of course, we let our investors down. Of course, we let, the gaming category in general down. But we also specifically let down these content creators. And so I don't believe, even with Arena in such good state, if we go out and do a Kaido campaign right now, I don't think, even if it gets momentum, which they do because of the reward structure, it's really big. I get it. It feels like it makes sense to just go, let's do a Kaido campaign, then we'll get attention back. We need attention in the right way. We need to be very, very careful with how we bring attention to our product again. And if it feels at all like attention campaign without any substance behind it, as in, oh, Illuvium's just spending money for people to talk about it positively again, we're fucked, right? We cannot have that because people will see through it. They get it. They're going to say, nah, they're just paying for that. It's Kaido campaign. I don't believe it. What we need to do is what I spoke about, show people that people love playing Arena now. It was not a good game. It was very, very early. It had a ton of bugs and things that we needed to fix. That was a year ago. We're here now. It's a great polished game. and people are starting to love it. Look at all these streamers. They're not playing it because we're paying them. They're paying it. They're playing it because they want to win this IPL league, and that makes sense. Then, as a content creator, I'm like, holy shit! Look at all these guys that it might not be my genre, but I respect the fact that they've got all these streamers coming across and playing. That is the way that we want to get attention back on the product. And very quickly, they'll change their mind. They need to. They're content creators. What's hot at the moment is key to them. And so that's why we haven't gone for any cheap little... And not that Kaido is cheap. I think there's a place for it. But there's no more sort of guerrilla tactics that we can take. We need to build that foundation of respect and trust back in our products, and then we can start doing the things that really made us kind of famous for in this space early on, where we did partnerships with DeFi people, and every single person had heard of Illuvium in some way, shape, or form. That sort of stuff we can start doing again, but we got to build that base.
Just because the chat keeps bringing it up, did your keyboard do that to you?
No, unfortunately, I played a lot of tennis when I was young, and as you can see, my skin is not the most tanned, and so I got a lot of sun damage. And as a precaution, I've put on this cream a few days ago, and it's called PDT. It basically gets rid of any potential skin cancers that come up. I don't have skin cancer, so don't freak out. I'm not dying, but yeah.
I mean,
so no one touched it.
It's a pretty elaborate excuse for breaking your keyboard on your head, but we'll take it.
Hey, yeah, I haven't got in any fights or anything like that. I don't think anyone would want to fight me actually at the moment. I'm in pretty good shape, so yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Well, that covers most of the products. Again, we'll have some questions at the end that we'll go back through and kind of bounce around with questions. But I guess the next big part of what people want to hear and want to talk about is, the Illuvium financial update, like runway, team size, treasury, burn rate, all the stuff that goes along with that, and then, capital raise too.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Can I just ask the chat for a second? Because unfortunately, I no longer have time to be in other people's Discords and stuff like that. Is the same level of transparency on how much runway we have, where our finances are, how many team members we have? Is that same level of transparency that Illuvium has in other gaming projects? Like, do people know how much runway Parallel has, or Star Atlas, or Wilder, or any of these other projects in gaming specifically?
I'm getting a resounding no.
But what, like, I don't get it. Like, are they just more stern and they're just like, go away, community? And I've got a rubber arm and I'm like, oh, I don't like it how everyone's mean to me, so I'm going to tell them exactly how much runway we have. Like, I don't understand. Don't you just demand it in other projects, or what's
they definitely demand it here, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know they demand it here. They want blood.
Yeah.
It just seems insane to me. Like, I mean, just for fun, I want to come out and be like, no, we're not telling you. Sorry. But anyway, it's just something that I mean, we value transparency, we really do, but yeah, I just wanted to get some perspective. So yes, runway. I only have reports up to end of June, so I'm a little bit behind. But end of June, we had just under 17 months runway left, so still quite considerable. No need to, no cause for concern yet. But we are now starting to. I actually just started writing up our latest pitch deck to do the Series B, and I had my first conversation with an investor yesterday. They were one of the investors that went into the last round, and surprisingly, I was like, let's just feel out the waters here and see where they're at. Obviously, our last raise was at a much higher valuation, and I just wanted to feel them out. We're not looking to do a capital raise until we get the vertical slice out, until we start bringing players back into the ecosystem. We really want to push the token price up, and we've got a lot of stuff. As I said, we've purposefully been staying silent over the last 12 months to make sure that we can build up our arsenal of things that really matter to push that token price up. It's about time now. We've got 3 or 4 months to prepare before this capital raise, and now it's all about push the token price up, show people what we've been building, get those player numbers back, get sentiment back to positive, and make things looking really healthy, and then extend our runway. We've done it many times before. Almost every single time we go into a capital raise, our token's at a really decent price within that sort of 12-month period. So we try and time it right in order to get the best value out of our raise. This time is no different, and had that preliminary conversation with the investor yesterday, and I was kind of like, this could be rough. We're going into this. They're 80% down on their investment. Where are they at? And they are absolutely still 100% committed. They actually are talking about building a third-party application that can potentially help out with things like Arena and sharing alluvials and stuff like that. And they were like, hey, make sure you include us. We want to talk. We also have the ability to go into your next round. And so it's very easy to sort of look at things and get a little bit negative. But when you start talking to these institutional investors that do this all the time, you gain a lot of perspective, and they're still very positive, exactly like we are internally. We know where we're going here. And so I'm not concerned whatsoever that we'll get money. It's not a matter of will we extend our runway. It's a matter of how much can we extend our runway by, and how many tokens do we need to sell in order to do that. And so that gave me a lot of confidence yesterday to have that conversation with someone who's potentially, able to put in a lot of money and get our round started. So runway wise, still got plenty in the bank. We're okay there, and we definitely have enough to get through and deliver this MMO. But that's not good enough for us. We want 3, 4, 5, 10 years ideally if we can get a fucking bull market here. But yeah, we're all good there.
Alrighty. Yeah, I mean that covers pretty much all of that. I mean, I think some people were asking about the financial whatever the report we produce. I think that's with Luke still. I asked him about it, but we typically will get that. We'll get that out pretty soon. I'm pretty sure. From what Luke said, at least.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I guess next, before we do the Q&A, we'll just kind of talk about, where you see, I guess, the future and Q3 and 4 developments, like what the priority is. You kind of touched on it, and yeah, like where you see Illuvium in a year from now.
Yeah, okay. So similar to so I'm very, very glad that we made that call. It was a tough call 12 months ago. In July, we launch and things don't go as planned. We all sit around a room. There was like 10 of us, and we're like, okay, we need to take stock here and work out what's the next move. The biggest thing, we need to lower costs. And so someone was asking in chat, how did you have 12 months of runway? And now that was 6 months ago, and now you've all of a sudden got more, and we haven't generated a massive amount of revenue to make up that gap. What we did is we reduced costs by over 50%. And we did that over a 3-month period. And so our burn rate is a lot less than what it was. And that's how we've extended our runway out. But we sat around and we said, okay, what do we do here? Because we've really launched 3 unfinished games. I guess Zero, it was doing what it was intended to do, but there's a lot of room to improve Zero. And so we had to, it was, how long is the Overworld going to take to get up to scratch of what we actually consider a really good open world RPG game? And it wasn't even, we're not even talking MMOs at that point. And so we looked at that and we're like, it's going to take too long. There's quests, there's multiplayer that we need to get in, new combat systems. There's just so much stuff to do in the MMO. Arena, people like it, but it needs to be a lot better. And so we made that call to switch all of our focus on one game. And that made things so much more streamlined, so much more faster, that now we have a game that we can start advertising, we can start marketing, we can start saying, like, look at the feedback that we're getting here. It's really, really positive. So that's our anchor point, right, that we needed, where when someone says, oh, Illuvium's not fun, and they're talking about the Overworld, one of our community members or one of our investors or whoever it is can say, oh, wait a second, their arena game is really well received. That they worked super hard on. That's now polished. They've got all these Web 2 people playing. Their Pro League has just launched. It's not like it was 12 months ago. And someone goes, oh, shit, I didn't know that. We needed to be able to have that, regardless of the fact that it's very likely that the MMO wows more people. It's the category that it's in touches more people. People love RPG games. They love MMOs. They love open worlds more than they do the niche category that we're in with Arena. And so while the juice to squeeze is very much in the MMO, having that foundation of Arena being a good game was absolutely critical, because now it's not a question of can we make fun and good games. That argument, debate, whatever you want to call it, is over. And that's a really powerful statement for us to be able to prove that we know what we're doing when it comes to actually building games. And when we go to get more money for this MMO, it unlocks a lot of really, really positive things. So for us, it's now showing people that, right? It's all about the marketing, especially the MMO as well. So there'll be 2-tiered marketing. There'll be the arena and auto battler stuff that we're trying to get those TFT people to come across. There'll be the MMO stuff where we start leaking a whole bunch of things, going into the vertical slice. Once we get to that vertical slice, there will be the cinematic that comes out. There will be a lot of stuff leading up to that to really get people hyped and excited about what the MMO actually is, how you play it, all that type of stuff. And we'll be hitting people on both sides to really, really try and ramp up things as we go into this capital raise. And what I think it looks like next year is we've got an extra 3 years runway sitting in the bank. We have the vertical slice that drops, and everyone goes, "Oh my god, this!" And that vertical slice is playable as well. So anyone that played Overworld, out of those 130,000 people that played, and they were like, "I want to go and do a quest," and they couldn't do that, and they were like, "What the fuck? Like, what is this? Like, why wouldn't I be able to do a quest?" Or they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna go capture that alluvial," and then you're in some auto battler, and it's like, "I don't like auto battlers. What is this? I want an RPG. Like, give me combat, give me melee." That will exist in this in this vertical slice. Going in with your friends feels so empty. It feels so alone when you go into this overworld. I get you're a survivor, but shit, there's other rangers out there that are surviving with you. Show me them. I want to play with them. I want to have fun with them. That is going to be in there. And so all of these things that were missing from the original Overworld are in there now. And when we showcase that, that's going to get people so hyped to play. It's not even funny, right? And then we're positioned again for the MMO product to be like, just give us it. We really want to see it. It'll build, it'll build, it'll build. And people will sit there and say, okay, well, now they've got runway for another 3 years. I've just seen this MMO, and it was literally everything that I wanted the overworld to be originally, but I've sold my ILD. I lost it. I was angry. I was pissed, and I get it. Trust me, I definitely get it. But then you're going to be sitting there going, do I really, really want to risk the idea of me being validated, being right? 5 years ago, I sat there and I was like, this is the team, this is the product, this is the IP, this is the world that I want to bank on. And I was let the fuck down. 100%. It happened, and you're pissed off, you sell those tokens. But then all of a sudden you see, okay, well, they finished Arena, and that also pissed me off because I didn't want them working on Arena. I wanted them working on this idea that I first bought into, but it is a really fun game. And there's a lot of people that are saying it's a fun game, so that actually makes me feel good that at least they have one game that they can really stand behind and people confidently say they like it. So that's one. Now they've got an extra 3 years runway. Why did investors put more money in if the game's dead, if the game's a scam, if they can't build a good game? Why did they do that? I don't have some magical wand that I can fucking shove in people's faces and they go, oh, I will just give you my life savings now. Like, unfortunately, I don't have that. It's because they believe in the product. They believe in the roadmap. They believe in what we're able to do. So then they're like, okay, well, now they've got 3 years runway. And I'm playing this vertical slice that is exactly what I wanted it to be. It's just a small part of it. I got to go back in, right? And that's what I'm trying to achieve at a very individual level. Every single person that has had something to do with Illuvium, I want to frame this in a way where you are still pissed off, still annoyed, still frustrated. I don't think we're going to change that. That doesn't change until we start seeing the token price go back up. But if we can line things up in that way and do all of this before the end of the year, we flip the page, we go into 2026, and people start saying, I just have to go back in. I do. I don't want to, but I have to go back in. That's my focus. And that's where I want to position Illuvium to be back as the leader in gaming because we have really, really good products. We've got the hype back. We've got the runway. There's no concerns. We're back. That's what I want.
Yep, me too. I like it. Hype. Yeah, I think a lot of people just think we're dead, and it's over. So it's gonna be great to, and it's gonna be, along the road before they realize,
But this is what I don't like. I don't understand, right? Like they're dead, they're a scam, like all of these things. Like I get it. It comes up many times back in 2019, 2020 when I was investing in things. I was super emotional. You would back this team, go all in, you'd put a ton of money in, they don't deliver, and you'd fucking lose it, right? But when you've got other projects out there, that's why I was asking this question of like transparency. There's so many games that have come out in the last 6 months. They just post a Discord announcement. Sorry, we're out, and you have no warning. I didn't know that. Like, genuinely, I looked at that and I'm like, well, surely you've been demanding the business metrics. You've been getting a monthly update of where the runway's at, how much the OPEX is, where the revenue's coming in. Like, surely you've got all these things. So it's not like they've just dropped this on you. But most of the responses that I'm getting are, no, we had no idea. We just didn't know. And it's like, well, why didn't you say, I'm going to sell my tokens unless you tell us how much runway you have? And I don't know. People just, it's a weird thing. But yeah, we're not going to do that to you at Illuvium. We're never going to do that to you. And that's why it's so important for me to ensure, okay, we're coming down to 12 months of runway again. We need to top that up. How do we do it? There's many different ways, but we're not going to let this thing go down. And yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think inherently just like our council is a big part of that too, like having the DAO and the council. Like, I mean, Jaganite's been there many times asking for things, like, so definitely the council helps with that a little bit. But, all right. So, yeah, I mean, that's like everything we wanted to cover as far as games wise. We can move straight into questions and answers unless you wanted to cover anything else before that. No?
No, I think that's it.
All
Is
right,
everyone signed up to our tournament this weekend?
we got about 98 people last time I checked. 97. So yeah, if you haven't signed up for the Leviathan tournament, there's a link in the events thing up in the Discord, or it's on social media everywhere. So yeah, it's a Leviathan tournament.
We really should have pushed that out to 128. I wanted to make a point that you can make large scale tournaments successful, but it doesn't matter. It's all good. We can go with 64.
Yeah.
Congrats, by the way, on making that site. That was pretty good of you. It's a really good resource. I want to see how it goes when it comes to tournaments, but in terms of like what I wanted, that mobilytics style of what builds to play, you helped me a lot.
Well, I had to rebuild the tournament thing like 2 times this week just to to accommodate the 64 people. So I don't think we have time to test for 128. So, and we're still a little bit shy, anyways. So, but yeah, we can dive right into the next questions. Definitely. So these are from the community. These are from various places. Linky, thank you for gathering some questions, and from in the Discord. So this one is from Dino. He's here in the crowd. He wants to know when we can expect MMO testers to begin playtesting. Approximately.
Yeah. So first things first. I guess a council privilege, if you will. We've already showed the council a little clip of the boss battle. We did that about 3 or 4 weeks ago, so it's much better now. But I actually spoke to them about this a couple of days ago in our meeting and talked about in part of that reduction in staff, we had to make the call to remove the QA team. We had a lot of QA. I think we had like 15 in total at one point across all 4 games. And we just made the call. It was super tough. And we said to the devs, you're going to have to test your own products. And that's just, it is what it is. But I've been sitting here thinking for so long. I'm like, this is such a weird. It's such a weird situation that the people in our Discord, like the players in our Discord, are also investors. It's very rare that you'll have a situation where like Fortnite or Blizzard or whatever, like there's millions of people who put their hand up and say, I want to test the game, but do you own a substantial amount of Riot stock? Do you, well, not stock, but do you own, shares in these games? Do you have skin in the game? And most of the time, it would be no. And the way you get around that is you go and hire people, right? You pay the money, that's their skin in the game, and you get really good people. We don't have the budget right now to go and and rebuild that QA team, but we have the perfect catch net, if you will, of people who can actually turn into QA testers. I'm not talking about people who are like, I just want to play the game and have fun and do it earlier than everyone else. I'm talking about proper QA. I'm talking about building testing systems, actually training people up to become QA testers, where who knows, maybe they can go out and get a junior position at somewhere where they're getting paid after it. But we've got the alignment of players, the passion that comes with that, but then the fact that they've invested as well. So they're willing to do things properly. And with all of that considered, instead of us going and spending 300 400k a year on building a QA team, we can do that with the people right in front of us on this call. And so where that first step is all of these people will need to be under NDA. We need to make sure that they're not just going crazy and sharing shit all over Twitter and whatever. And so the council, they're already under NDA. And so I went to them and I was like, hey, what are your thoughts on doing this? It's not going to be like, hey, I'll chuck in an hour on Wednesday or whatever. Like it'll be a proper, probably 20 hours a week. You'll need to go through training. You'll need to be upskilled into actually what the devs need, what sort of feedback and what sort of testing plans we actually need. And I think out of the 10 people on council, there was like 40% or 50%, 4 or 5 people that put their hand up and said, yeah, I'll do it, and so that was really, really good to see. So what I want to do, and it's going to take a little bit of time, as I said, we need to put these people through a training course, like an official QA training course. There's going to be some onboarding. There's going to be a bunch of stuff that we need to do. We need to sift through a whole bunch of resumes and stuff to try and find the people that we think would be best at this. But the point that I'm making here is we do want to do this, and I do want to do this month and get a QA team where you will be internal, you will be on the team, and those people ideally will be coming from the community. We will work out some ways to compensate these people. Obviously, we don't want to be like, hey, you're our you're our slaves or whatever. Like that, it's not that. But we'll have to get tricky with it. Things like fuel, things like cosmetics, because we really want to save that wage of not paying a QA team in order to put those resources and that money into making the game as good as we possibly can. So yes, it will be happening, and there will be some people in the community that can apply for this.
I'll also just say, like, because you brought that up, we talked about it on the podcast like a month ago, I think, but they were talking about, I talked to Jeremy and Roger about it, but like you were mentioning, rewarding people for doing things, but we talked about, getting people that are building third-party apps too for us, getting them rewarded with, discs, and I think Roger is going to design a border for anybody who's building products, third-party products for Illuvium, like myself and Peter did, and like Mega Daddy Ratty did or is doing. Paz, multiple people are building different products for Illuvium right now. So really good to see, and you could get some cool reward down the road. So. And anybody could literally do it. Like, people are giving me a lot of praise for making this website, but honestly, guys, it's mostly cursor and AI. So it just a lot of hours back and forth, but it's mostly cursor. I'm not that amazing. Believe me, you can do it too. So anyways, we can get to the next question here. So the next question is, when Gauntlet launch on mobile? And I'm waiting for that too, because I could really use being able to play on my phone.
Yeah, this is a bit of a tricky one. The reason, so I've been talking about mobile for years and years and years, and when we first started building, it was all about PC and the types of games that we wanted to build are super high quality, right? And it's very tough to optimize that for mobile, but we're in a space where I still believe it's probably 70% of the players only have access on mobile. Not a situation of like, I love mobile, like Scoriox, those type of guys that are just like, I just love mobile. I want to do it on the train and whatever. Like, I know those people exist, but I'm talking about people in third world countries that do not have access to a PC at all, right? Just on their mobile. And they're the types of players that there's still value in having them in the ecosystem. There's still, a lot of trading volume that can come from these types of players. And we saw it with Axie, and we do not have access to those players right now, right? It's just, we do not. And the only game that we do is Zero. And without a land plot, it's not going to push the needle. So we've known for a long time that we absolutely have to have something on mobile, right? But it's too big of an investment right now without playing it. We need to see what after this marketing campaign in the next 6 to 8 weeks, we'll have a very, very, very good idea if we can spend the money on going to mobile for Arena. But we don't have the luxury of risking things like this now, because A, it's going to take a ton of resources, but B, it's also going to take a lot of our runway up if we do this. Now, the flip side is, if we do it and it 100x's our players, because the assumption of 70% of players in Web3 are on mobile, then it would be a really good call for us to make. But we don't know that, and it's still a massive risk. So we need to get the player numbers back up to where they were a few years ago. And if we can get the player numbers back up to that, then we can justify it. And I've got some other ideas as well. At that point, we could potentially even just go out to some very, very keen investors that we have on the Arena side and say, hey, do you want to fund this? And work out some creative ways to do that, specifically for porting Arena to mobile. What I will say is, we've been working over the last 2 years to optimize our assets. That's been a huge lift from the art team. That is pretty much complete now. So it's just about doing the development to get it to mobile. But again, before we do that, we need to prove that, hey, the product is well received, retention is high, and yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say, Roger mentioned in the town hall too, or I think it was the town hall. He mentioned somewhere, basically, yeah, all the mobile assets are done, and then basically they're making a new mode for, it's going to be called potato mode. from what Jeremy told me, and you are going to be able to play on like low-end PCs, right? They basically use the mobile assets in the arena client, in the desktop client.
Got it.
So that'll be optimized for you guys as well. So, all right. That answers that question. Next, we got one from Ivan here. Should owned alluvials gain levels and experience? These are kind of like, this is like Leviathan based, but should owned alluvials gain levels and experience points when used in battles across modes like Arena, Gauntlet, Leviathan, Overworld, and Quests, basically? So, like, how are they going to gain levels and experience if that's the route we're still going?
So there's still a lot to be decided. So I don't want to speak for Perry. I think Perry's actually on this call. I don't want to speak for Perry and or Steven and say like, hey, this is what they're doing, because there's got to be a lot of iterating when it comes to the MMO and how progression works, not just for alluvials, but things like ranges and weapons and stuff like that. So what I would say to that, like a generalized statement, is gaining experience across other modes or other games in the ecosystem, from my stance, is generally seen as a good thing. It showcases the interoperability of the ecosystem. It gives people a bit of a dopamine rush when they get out of the battle and they can see, oh, my alluvial leveled up. But none of that is set in stone on the MMO side. So how that works, I don't want to say now, but yeah, that's sort of my high level stance on things like progression.
Yeah. And and I'll just say, like, as I'm looking at the questions, like, yeah, Roger and Steven answered a lot of this stuff kind of in the MMO, or they went in depth into like the different systems that they're planning. So if you guys, I'll probably skip some of the MMO questions, honestly, because like that, I would go back and watch that town hall we did with Roger and Steven, because they answered a ton of questions about this stuff. So, but as far as the next question, this is from Winnie. Will the PvE modes in the Overworld ever offer earning potential on par with like Gauntlet tournaments and leaderboards, such as ILV rewards for boss battles, or to better balance the game for players who don't want to play PvP Gauntlet tournaments, basically?
We definitely haven't gotten that far in terms of like what the reward structures are going to be. The gaming purist in me says like, no, this is going to be the most fun game. MMOs don't need things like direct reward incentives, like, hey, we're going to pay you to play our game. However, things like, I played this game and I got this sweet weapon that dropped. It's super rare. It's got awesome stats. I can go into the marketplace and sell that now for real money because it's such a good weapon and so many other people are playing this game and they want it. That is the way that I would ideally like people to earn money through the MMO. Obviously, we still have a shit ton of ILV for things like rewards, and I'm not saying it's out of the question, but for me, I'd ideally like those traditional game loops or economic loops where you can go in, you can level up your entire set of alluvials, and you're 3-4 years in and you're at set 3 or whatever it is, and you're kind of like, all right, I'm gonna hang my boots up. I've had enough now, but I'm not leaving without selling my entire collection and getting something out of this game. that would be the way that I would look at earning. And of course, along the way, you might get a double up of an alluvial that you want, really good stats. Someone's playing Leviathan, they want that. They go and buy it off you. That might mean that you earn some money off that. So more sustainable ways of earning. I think if we look at this, especially this far out, looking at the MMO, if we sit here and we say the only way that we're going to get people to play and earn is by literally giving them ILV based on how long they play, we're fucked, right? We need to we need to have a better, more sticky ecosystem than that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely agree. All right, we'll keep moving along here, skipping some of these MMO ones. We got Danat05. Basically, his question is when will we see new modes beyond Gauntlet? Which I'm pretty sure your answer will be similar to before, but like basically Ascendant mode. I think he's what he's asking about. Is if that will ever come back, if we'll work on building that out again, refine that, or if it's just kind of gone for good.
Definitely not gone for good. Where again, it goes back to that stage where we need to prove things. We don't have the luxury of having hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank and hey, let's go send 20 people to go test out, build a new mode, see how that goes. We just don't. And I know that that new auto battle that came out that's 1v1, and so many people came to me and said, see, I told you we should have had a 1v1 mode. We've the game design team, I think Aaron and a couple of the other guys are very much through the design of what they want that 1v1 mode to look like. It's a lot faster. I think one of the biggest issues with Gauntlet, and it's not just us, there's other auto battlers as well. When you're playing 8 players, it's a bit of a time investment, 35-40 minutes. So the appeal to me for an Ascendant match would be, hey, we finished that game in 10 minutes. That seems, fun and quick, and that could work. But we need to just get what we have now cranking, start the marketing, get people in. If we had 100,000 people in Arena right now and people came up to me and they were like, hey, what about mobile? I'll be like, fuck, we're working on it. What about more modes? We're working on it, right? But right now we're a little bit tentative. We need to see what it does. We haven't done any marketing whatsoever. Once we see how the product is received, now that it's in a really, really good state, then we can start looking at different modes.
Okay. I personally, Ascendant wasn't for me. I enjoy Gauntlet a lot more myself, but that's
because you don't like coming last all the time.
I still come last in Gauntlet. Like, let's be real. All right. Okay. Next. Relaxed, it's handled. He was wondering about the fuel rewards. I spoke to Jeremy about this. Basically, they're almost done with automating all the payments out. Like I said, I already answered him in chat earlier. If you guys want to go look at it, but like, basically, they have part of it automated, and then there's also some manual checks we have to do to make sure rewards are going to the right people. Nobody's exploiting the systems, etc., etc. So yes, like they will be automated. They are working on them. I think that they automated Arena ranked last night, but they didn't, automatically distribute it because they want to test all this stuff a little bit further. But it's definitely on its way. So yeah.
There's also, outside of automation, there's also some backdated transactions for landholders specifically that we need to calculate and get paid out. So Perry and I spoke about that this week, and he's going to work with Jeremy and Stuart to get that done.
All right, good deal. Okay, next is Helios. It's basically about staking, ILV staking program. So How do we see that, continuing? Will we add more ILV to the reserves, or how do you see staking playing out from here, basically?
It's an interesting question. About 12 months ago, people said, hey, what are we going to do about staking? The rewards are ending. What if, people, they know the state of the game in terms of revenue distribution, which is the reason everyone stayed staked and whatever. And I said back then, there's something coming. There'll be another reason why everyone wants to stake their ILV. We've been quietly building something on the side, and very, very soon there'll be another reason for you to stake your ILV, and you will be you'll definitely be rewarded for staking that ILV. That's about all I'm going to say on that, but something is definitely coming sooner than you think.
That was a bigger leak than I thought you were going to give. Okay, well, there you go, guys. Ponder that. All right. So let's see here.
Yes. Fuck, that's funny.
Okay. The next one. What's I mean, this person's basically asking. I mean, I guess you already covered that. That's fine. I guess, people are okay. This is a question, like how do you receive, feedback personally, or like if somebody wanted to reach out to you because they're looking to create something for Illuvium, like I'm sure you're open to that. And then they were wondering if you guys, you know, are you guys going to be more active on Discord, because they're saying, it really brings, trust in the project if, founders are more active in Discord, is basically what he's asking.
Yeah, and so you messaged me this earlier in the week, and that's why I came into the general chat, and I was making a bit of a joke saying that, the chief communication officer is back and stuff like that. But the reality is, in that first 3-year period, the three brothers, and not just us, but in terms of communication wise, I guess this is some information that'll make sense there. But all of us in that first 3-year period, all of us were working such ridiculously long hours. It was, and for us, we would be in the community constantly, right? Like we would be working, and then someone would ping us, we'd get a notification or whatever, and we would just be in the community. I know for me personally, and I haven't spoken to Aaron specifically about this, but I think the same thing happened. And I think, again, same thing with Grant as well. We just burnt out. Like, we have to accept that we just burnt out. It was unsustainable. It was literally at some points like 20 hours a day. You would see us online, and that was not a facade, that was real. We said, screw our families, screw our social life, screw all of that. We are just going to be constantly sitting here online. For me, it was Twitter as well. It was Discord. And then, on top of that, you're working ridiculous hours, like of doing actual stuff. And we just burnt out. And for me, it wasn't about, quite a few times it's been burnout, and then you come back in terms of like actually doing, long hours a day in working. But the communication was just that additional thing on top, where it was just like, I can't do it. I cannot do it. And it didn't even, it wasn't even a conscious decision of doing it. I think I just was like, I just can't even, my brain was protecting me by saying like, don't even go there. And it really fucked us, right? Like not having that presence. It actually goes back to the transparency, right? Like us coming out and saying, this is our runway, this is where we're going. This is how many people we have in the studio. We had to let go of these people, and being completely transparent. That's another expectation where in my mind, if I look at a project and I say, okay, what are the things I'm looking at to tick the boxes for me to go and invest, understanding how much runway they have and how many personnel and what investors are in, like all of that stuff that we are very, very transparent about is one thing. On the same level as that transparency is being able to see the co-founders or founders or whatever, people running the project active. And not just active as in they're online, I know they're working, but talking to the community. That is as big as that other thing that I was talking about. So it makes me like so annoyed and frustrated at myself that I know this. I know that it's a requirement for a crypto company to a DAO to have this from their founders, and that's why I was so adamant at the start to just be in here day and night, regardless of my health, because it was so important, and I let it go. I just let it go. I just didn't do it, and it doesn't matter. There's no excuse for it. It just has to happen. And part of that is, me coming back this week and saying, like, I actually need to commit to this. And I love it too. It makes me feel disconnected when I'm not talking to the community. And so this week has been really, really good. I've had so many messages from people that I used to speak to, and they're like, hey, we used to speak in DM. I saw you in the community again. It's so good to see. I think that's helping with sentiment. Of course it would be. If we're seen as, if someone's like seeing all this shit on Twitter and whatever, and then they go into the Discord and they're like, oh, fuck, none of the founders are in here. Are they even working? It's going to compound the issue. Like, it's such an obvious thing, but we just didn't do it. And so that's going to change. I will absolutely commit a whole bunch of time per week to talk to the community, and yeah, that just has to change. And moving forward, you'll see a lot more of me. So how you get to me, just DM me. Right? Like I don't know. I think Jeremy's put something in place where it's like it's weird. Some people can DM me. I feel like it's everyone, but then at the same time, I feel like it's maybe not everyone. But I don't know. I've always said my DMs are open. I'm cautious enough that you're not going to be able to scam me and reverse engineer, some sort of scheme on me. So just DM me, and I'll always get back to you.
Yeah, I sent the same message I sent to you. I sent to Aaron because, as I said, back when I got in the community, however many years ago, and it was just me, or I got on Telegram first, but yeah, that was it. And you guys were dual going Telegram and Discord, you, Danny, and Aaron, like 24/7, and because I was habitually awake and online, so yeah, I just remember I was like, oh, that's why this project was so great to me when I first joined, because it was super easy to interact with you guys,
Yeah.
That's when I thought you were like this cool, maleficent figure, But I quickly learned, So. All right. Well, I think I guess one more question, about how we feel about our onboarding currently, and the platform's discoverability, and like what we're doing to improve all of that, like credit card integrations, which we have Stripe now. But I mean, how do you feel about the onboarding process now, and what are we going to do to improve it?
It's certainly a lot better than what it was 12 months ago. It's a lot more accessible in terms of things like credit card payments, and it's much faster. The Beyond experience that I had in Wave 4, actually, yeah, in this wave, in Wave 4, was much better than previous waves. And we will continue refining that. We've still got a really good web team that are looking to do things like UX and UI improvements across the board. We're also talking to the Immutable team. We're like the last team to migrate over. We basically said, look, we're very much I'll just say we're balls deep in so many things that we absolutely don't want on our plate this idea of like migrate over to ZK EVM, even though there's a bunch of benefits for doing it. We've just basically said to them, like, just give us time. We're working on so much shit. We'll do it when we can, and that's going to bring a lot of improvements as well. But it really doesn't matter. Like the focus is on when you've got hundreds of thousands of players. Sure, that's when we can start looking at little tweaks here and there. But I don't think our onboarding is the reason for us having a lack of players right now. I think that's product wise. So that's the first step, and that's what we've been focused on. But yeah, of course, we're always trying to think about how to make the customer experience better.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll just say like it's 100x better than it was, like
Oh, not even close. Yeah,
a year ago when we launched, So it's we're 100x better than we were then. So all right, well, that's all the questions that people submitted, and I think we pretty much covered, everything that I saw, at least, unless there's any questions in chat that I missed. I think I saw one from somebody here. But we can go through a couple other things while I'm looking for those, which is, the stuff coming up, which is the Leviathan tournament tomorrow, hosted by Kieran and myself. We got 300 ILV from Kieran for that. Plus, I conned Aaron into giving another 150. So, yeah, we got like 450 ILV on the line for this Leviathan tournament tomorrow.
Jesus.
And yeah, we're already full, but I mean, like, you can still register as a backup. The link is, available in the Discord events section, but you can sign up and be a backup. I'm sure it's going to be a little bit hectic getting 64 people organized and there on time. But you have a 30-minute check-in window to be there. Otherwise, we're moving to backups because I don't got all day tomorrow. So, but yeah.
A quick question on that. On the prize money for this tournament, and I know you're all ILV maxis, and you think ILV is more stable than USD and stuff like that. But when you're looking at prize money, would you prefer it in USD, as in this? So this Leviathan tournament, is it $5,000 of USD or 450 ILV? What would you prefer, or what do you think looks better? Probably asking the wrong the wrong crowd here, but yeah, okay.
I mean, for me,
Roger wants
personally,
donuts.
the what?
Roger wants donuts. I think the reason I'm asking that is we're about to launch the IPL. Actually, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah,
We didn't
that's what I
talk
was
about
gonna
it
say
much.
next. You can talk about it now. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you for allowing that.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up next.
Yeah. So we've got approved by the council. We've been working on this for a long time. The Illuvium Pro League is launching this month. First tournament is going to be, I believe, the 16th. Is that right? Yeah, the 16th of August is the first event. There's 3 types of points events, and then there's a couple of outliers, but we'll discuss that in the blog, and you'll have more details there. But effectively, there's 3 tiers of tournaments. There's IPL 250s, there's IPL 500s, and IPL 1000s. That the numbers there refer to the points that you earn, or the points that are up for grabs for each tournament. So Obviously, the bigger the tournament, the tougher the competition is going to be, but you've got more points on the line and stuff like that, and bigger prize money. That's going to start, as I said, on mid-August, and then the intention there is to have, I believe it's like something like 12 to 15 events before the end of the year. And that's going to culminate into the end of year World Series. That World Series event is so those other events range between like $2.5 grand prize money all the way up to 20 grand, depending on the tournament and who's running it and who's sponsoring it and stuff like that. So that's really exciting. And then all of that goes into the end of year event where there is $150,000 prize pool on the line, and we'll crown our first IPL winner. That is going. It should have been announced earlier, but Rich just couldn't get his shit together. But yeah, that is going to be announced ideally today. I don't think there's any reason to delay it any further, and I think that's going to be very, very exciting for a lot of people. As I said, that forms part of our marketing plan when it comes to getting TFT people across. There's prize money on the line, and I think it actually it makes it real. There's so many. So for so long we've been sitting here like, yeah, we're gonna have competitive esports, an arena, we're gonna market it, we're gonna bring all these people in, and then we're like, oh, sorry, game's not good enough. And it's frustrating for the people who actually play. They're like, fuck you, it is good enough. I've dedicated my life to this. Like, just get it started. And again, like, I respect that, and I understand that it's been frustrating to sit here saying like the game is good enough. It's good enough for me. Are you saying that I'm, some kind of weirdo? And the answer is yes, you kind of have been a little bit of a weirdo. And, now that is no longer, and the game is really well received, we can start going out, and it's now. That moment that you've been waiting for so long is now, and we're going to start bringing in these new players. I just hope you can hold your own against some of these TFT pros that are coming in. I know we talk a lot of shit about them and whatever, but they are very, very good. And yeah, I would like to see you guys winning in the IPL. There's a lot of people that have put a lot of years of practice into that, and there's huge prize money. I'm not talking about little, like, I won 5 ILV and the leaderboard rewards. I'm talking about walking away with a $20,000, not 20,000 because it's spread across, but if you win an IPL 1000, you're walking away with a huge chunk of cash, and it's like it becomes real now. So we're finally here.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I will try to get that blog out today. I got to do a little bit more testing on the tournament platform to make sure tomorrow goes smoothly. But yes, I'm working on it, and we'll get that out to you guys as soon as possible. It'll have a blog that explains everything, and it'll be have a nice tournament image you guys can share around, so you can easily promote the IPL, the Illuvium Pro League, which is coming soon. So, yeah. So there's that. So we got the Leviathan tournament. We got the Illuvium Pro League. As I said at the beginning, ILV Summer is currently ongoing. It lasts for 2 weeks. There's lots of fun stuff there. Lots of cool Luvatars. Lots of prize or rewards to unlock. And so that's going till August 14th. Wave 3 or Wave 4 is ending August 18th. So we're getting very close to the end of Wave 4. So that's exciting, and we got so you're gonna need to get those discs before it's over. And yeah, I think that is everything we wanted to cover. I got all the questions answered, and yeah, I think we're good.
Just one question from Anubis, and it's a hot topic in inside my head at the moment, so I want to address it. He's asking, or they are asking, I should say, is it going to be Gauntlet ranked or is it going to be Leviathan? So in the IPL as it stands right now, and I just didn't want to push it too soon. There's no proof in Leviathan yet. There's proof that there's demand, as we've seen with this tournament Rich and I running later today for me. But the IPL is all about it being pure. There's you don't have to spend any money to get in there. It's not pay to win right now. There's a whole schedule. As I said, there's many events. It's all there. But we've got this other game mode, and I'm sure a lot of you would have felt like this if you're an active player in Arena and you've sort of done what I've done in the last week and switched and started playing Leviathan. It begs the question, do we bring in Leviathan into the IPL? Right now, the purists out there, the guys who don't own any Illuvials but are actually really good players and love Illuvium, they're going to sit there and say, absolutely not. Pay to win, cannot be in there. No chance. Get it the fuck out of here. And I get that, right? There's a strong argument that maybe it jars people or whatever. But I just can't help but think, if you've got this entire schedule here and there's, many ways for you to get to the World Series in terms of many ways for you to acquire points without it being pay to win. But then let's say we have like 4 or 5 events each year, which obviously give you big prize money. That's the first thing. Like the Leviathan events are going to give you big prize money because that's where people are paid to own their alluvials. They deserve it. But the question is, should they have points attached to them? My stance is, fuck yes. And the reason is, if you've got a whole schedule, you've got 5 tournaments in September that you're like, all right, I've got this one on this week, this one on this week. And then there's this other Leviathan tournament over here. And it's got, say it's a 500 in terms of points. It's a big Leviathan tournament. It's got massive prize money, but it's got 500 points attached to it. And you're like, I want to play in that. I don't need to. I've already got enough points to qualify, so I could leave it. And I don't have any alluvials, right? And there's also this other 250 tournament, which is just ranked. I should enter. Actually, I have entered that, and I was planning on going and winning that. But do I see if I can either work with someone for them to share me some alluvials because I'm a really good player and I think I can win it, but I don't own any? Do I go and buy some because the prize money on that event is 10 grand plus? If I win that, I can go and get a team of alluvials. Then all of a sudden I can play the Leviathan events without needing anyone else. Do I use a third party like the Polymos sharing app, that rental app that they have? It starts making a player that would never go into the ecosystem deep. You start pondering, like, do I do this? Like, do I actually start owning alluvials? And it creates that loop that we've wanted for so long, where you actually need to own your alluvials, and there's a use case for owning your alluvials, and not just, oh, it's fun and that's cool that I can own them. For these pro players, it's like I can get additional points, plus I can get big prize money. It might cost me a little bit, but I can get in. That seems like a really good place to be, as long as it doesn't overpower the league, right? If you're sitting there and it's 50-50 and 50% of the events are pay to win, you're like, nah, fuck that. I'm not even going to start because it's too hard. Whereas if it's 5% or 10% of the total points on offer throughout the entire year come from Leviathan, I think that's small enough that it doesn't create that like, this is just shitty. you can, if you're a purist, you can easily say, I'm not entering a single Leviathan event. It's not going to bother you. You're still going to have enough points. And so I think it doesn't affect the league. And I think it really, really showcases why people need to own alluvials. So for me, I think we should try it out. But again, without us proving what a Leviathan tournament looks like, is the balance just so out of whack that people are like, what is this game? I don't know. But if this is a successful event on the weekend and we get a huge uptick in people buying alluvials and because they want to go and play with them, and these other applications that are working with Illuvium start getting a ton of active users, I will be definitely making a case to the council to say, hey, let's add on some Leviathan events into the IPL, because I think it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, even you talking it out, like, I think, like, you know how other things have, like, special events. Like, it could just be, like, a once monthly special event is the Leviathan tournament, and, you know, you don't have to participate, but if you do, then you get those little bit of boost of extra points. I think it's a good way to bring people on that want to at least test it, you know, see if they're in for it.
And when you get in there and you start playing, like I was playing with a guy the other day. He wasn't chatting to me, which was really frustrating. And no, it wasn't a bot; it was a real player. But I felt so bad for it. Like he had a few alluvials that were like level 30, level 40, but I went in about 6 months ago. I went and spent a shit ton of money and a shit ton of time to go and get a really good fighter comp, and it's ridiculous. I've got a level 65 Jotun with perfect stats. He just mauls this guy. And I thought about it, I'm like, I guarantee you that guy's sitting there and he's like, God damn it, I've got to go and get another like 5 or 6 alluvials, because in the end, I think he was a better player than me in terms of just generally, but he just didn't have the firepower. I walked out of that battle with him and I was like, whoa, that was like a little closer than I would like. Maybe if I had my, I think I upgraded my forest to the stage 3 and it had no levels, and I was like, fuck, I should have stayed with my my forest, but I've upgraded it now. And I was like, you got to go and buy one of those. You can't let that happen. Like if that was in a tournament and I didn't have one of them, I'd be screwed, you know. And so it just it I don't know, it triggers something in my head when I play Leviathan, and you really go back to like, shit, if I'm serious in this, it's collect them all type stuff. Like you got to get all the alluvials. And I think that for the ecosystem is so big. Like it just hasn't been a thing for years, and now it is. And there's big prize money on the line. You're about to win a tournament and you cheaped out. You didn't want to spend that extra 500 on getting your ram fire, but you got your ram fight, and then somewhere out of nowhere you're in the end and you get that ninth ram fee, you upgrade it and you're like, oh my god, I don't have that character. That guy's going and buying a ram fire fucking straight away. You know, like that's powerful, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, I played Leviathan with Winnie the other day, and I don't even remember which alluvials I had, but obviously when I got to the, you know, stage 3 Riptorus, I didn't have a leveled one because I got just totally murdered, so. And it was only because of my alluvials, not because of my skills, so. But,
and that is the other thing in terms of like UI and interface. There's massive improvements there. Like not knowing if you want to upgrade, if you actually have an owned alluvial on that stage 3 or stage 2 or whatever, we can fix that user experience up pretty quickly. But yeah, I'm super excited with where we can go with Leviathan.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're about an hour and a half in. I think it's a good place to cut it, unless you had anything else that you thought of before we're going to cut it off.
Nope, I think we're good.
Alrighty, guys. Well, again, thank you everybody for joining the town hall. Also, oh yeah, one more note before we go. If you're planning on playing the Leviathan tournament, just know that you cannot transfer your alluvials after we start the game. So you won't be able to just like trade them around once you lose. So I put it in the rules. So yeah, no, it's supposed to be a good test case for the tournament. So, but yeah, thank you guys for joining.
Wait, can you explain
What?
what do you mean by that? Sorry, what are you thinking people are
if
going
somebody
to
dies in the first round and then they go and transfer their alluvials to another
do?
person in the tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That makes
we have all the data on your token IDs and everything. So don't try and outsmart us. Come on, dude. Like I got Jeremy back here. So all right, but yeah, again, thank you guys for coming to the town hall. We got a lot of stuff going on. We appreciate everybody coming out and showing their support. And yeah, we'll see you guys again soon.